Is the worst Chancellor in 100 years about to get the sack? Rachel, from accounts, has just earned an even worse nickname, and one which has much bigger implications for her disastrous stint at number 11. She's now known as Reshuffle Rachel. Sky News' outstanding chief political correspondent John Craig explosively reveals that the occupier of the second biggest job in government could be for the chop, given that she's by some distance the least popular member of this execrable government. And as it's a government led by the human AI robot that is Sir Keir Starmer, that's a pretty low bar. It's impossible to find one good thing to say about Rachel Reeves, who alongside Starmer were the key protagonists of last summer's election campaign. It was made clear to voters that we were choosing this potent partnership of Starmer and Reeves, who, far from proving to be a formidable double act, have turned out to be the Chuckle Brothers. Everything Reeves touches turns to mud. She inherited growth of 0.5%, the highest in the G7, and she's now reduced to celebrating unexpected growth of 0.1%. Now, 0.1% is not a cause for celebration. It's the lowest growth can be without recession. It's like saying you did the 100 meters sprint, except you needed to get a cab to cross the finish line. And now it looks like Reeves is finished. Indulging in identity politics and calling herself the first woman chancellor made her the story. And that scrutiny has come back to bite her on the bum. Because a closer look at this oversold politician has revealed a perpetual serial liar. Her CV raises more questions than a Gary Barlow tax return. Even the left-leaning BBC have done a job on Rachel this week, exhuming that story about her apparent 10 years as a Bank of England economist, when it's now clear she barely managed 5. And she's in charge of the numbers. How terrifying. So why are the Labour Party-friendly BBC running this story at this time? Is someone from Keir Starmer's inner circle sowing the seeds for her sacking? Plus, there was the other negative story that won't go away, the alleged dodgy use of a company credit card whilst she was at HBOS, all for gifts for colleagues and friends. Now, all three of the senior managers implicated, including Reeves herself, left the company all at the same time. Funny that. Now, she said, and her spokesperson has insisted, that she left HBOS on good terms. Well, forgive me for not trusting the word of Rachel Reeves, someone who pretended to be the Chancellor for growth, but whose policies have knowingly and deliberately shrunk the economy. Forgive me for not trusting the word of Rachel Reeves, who said Labour was the party of working people, with the national insurance tax raid, which literally hurts working people, by forcing companies to cancel pay rises and bonuses, lay people off, reduce investment and cut hours. If that doesn't hurt working people, then I'm Taylor Swift. To be fair, I do have decent legs. Plus, let's not forget that this politician appears to have zero integrity, because notwithstanding the endless lies, including a pre-election promise not to raise any further taxes before the biggest tax raid since the war, she greedily took thousands of pounds from Labour donor Lord Wahid Ali for fancy clothes. Couldn't she afford her own after a decade in the Bank of England? Or was it 6 months or 10 minutes? I mean, who the hell knows? The bottom line is thousands of pounds for new clothes tells you that she's very good at spending money on other people's credit cards. The HBOS credit card, Lord Ali's credit card, and of course, the national credit card, as she splashes the cash on inflation-busting pay rises for train drivers and junior doctors, all of which will come from borrowing to be paid for, in some cases, by British kids that haven't even been born yet. Now, John Craig from Sky News argues that the Chancellor is the key figure who has squandered Labour's New Year fight back, and this respected journalist who knows Westminster inside out has got her on political death row. Funny, I wonder what her last meal will be on death row. Something very posh, obviously, and probably paid for by someone else. What it won't be is humble pie, because this politician, who in my view is woefully out of her depth in the most important job in government, has shown no flexibility and will not budge on her disastrous policies. So the punishment of farmers, of pensioners, of aspirational families with kids at private school, her punishment of employers and businesses will continue apace, with alarm in some circles that things may get even worse in the months ahead, with a possible reduction in the amount of money that can be paid into tax-free ISAs, an absolute staple, a lifeline for ordinary Brits. Well, let's be honest, it was just a matter of time before this Soviet-style regime would seek to raid our savings accounts. Thousands of people seeking to protect their hard-earned money have been scrambling to open new accounts before any changes take place, with applications up by 300%. Blimey. Soon people will be queuing up outside banks just to collect their savings. I fear that in 4 years' time, if the policies like this carry on and if Rachel Reeves stays in number 11, Britain will make Venezuela look like an economic superpower. And how about this? To cheer you up in cold, gloomy February. With her 10 billion quid's worth of fiscal headroom gone, where is that money, by the way? Did she go shopping with it? The FT revealed that dear old Rach has left the door open to further tax rises, at which point this country really is in the toilet. Desperate to make the sums add up, Labour may freeze income tax thresholds and allowances right through until 2029, which would drag millions more people into a higher tax bracket and would impact disposable income, further hammering our non-existent growth. Add to that Starmer's broken promise to freeze council tax. It's now going to go up by up to 10%. The British people will be the most taxed in the Western world. And what do we get in return? Bloated and ineffective public services, dangerous crime-ridden streets, potholes, crumbling schools, and an ever-growing NHS waiting list. We pay our tax, so that makes us customers, which means that we should ask for our money back, because it's certainly not safe in Rachel's hands. It would be in the national interest to cut spending, because we live horribly beyond our means. And we should cut taxes to boost growth, because growth is national income. And national income is the only way that we pay down the debts, stabilise the economy, and sustainably fund the public services which we all want and which we all need. That would be the right thing to do, but we're not going to get the right thing from Rachel Reeves, or should I call her Reshuffle Rachel, whose policies have damaged the country and will continue to do so. And I say that with no pleasure whatsoever. But Sir Keir Starmer is feeling the political heat. He is ruthless and always looks after number one, which is why it's my view that Rachel Reeves will be gone by Christmas. From where I'm sitting, this political turkey looks well and truly stuffed. Thank you so much for watching. For an ad-free experience, bonus content, live videos in which you can message me directly, plus lots of written journalism, then why don't you head over to my Substack? It's at markdolan.com. See you there.